Do you want me to tell you a truth that might sting? There's a way of saying thank you that actually closes doors in your life. It's not a curse word. It's not jealousy. It's a beautiful word, just used the wrong way. Look at the difference. Thank you, period, versus thank you, to be continued. It sounds like a tiny detail, but it's the door. I know it sounds strange, but this comes from an ancient teaching in Jewish tradition, something I learned after years of studying classical texts. It's symbolic, it's educational. When you say thank you like you're saying, okay, that's enough for me, your body and your mind send a signal to close. It's like putting a deadbolt on the door right when something good was about to walk in. And if you're the kind of woman who works hard, holds the house together, takes care of everyone, but feels like the money disappears and life just won't move forward, take a breath. It's not a lack of effort. It's an invisible signal. In a moment, I'm going to show you the exact phrase that replaces that thank you used the wrong way, and the #1 mistake that makes so many people do everything right and still cancel their own progress. Don't skip ahead, because every part builds on the next. Right now, comment, "My hands are open to receive." If this video showed up on your feed today, I truly believe that's not random. And hit subscribe. This channel is new, because I'm going to walk you through step by step the invisible details that drain you and the ones that open doors. Before we go any further, I need to tell you two things very clearly. First, what you're about to hear is not magic. It's not a miracle promise. It's a symbolic and educational teaching inspired by an ancient idea in Jewish tradition, and also by something psychology has known for a long time. The words you repeat every day become internal commands. They shape your focus, your body, and even the decisions you make without realizing it. Second, you don't have to belong to any religion to use this. What matters here is the message behind the gesture. Think about it. When you say thank you, like you're putting a period at the end, your body understands it's over. You relax, you close the loop, you lower your expectation. But for many women, especially those carrying a household, family responsibilities, bills, and constant mental load, that it's over becomes a pattern. You get used to receiving less. You settle for the bare minimum. You swallow the anxiety and keep going. The metaphor is simple and powerful. Gratitude can be a door or a wall. The right way keeps the door slightly open. The wrong way sounds polite, but shuts it. And I'm about to teach you the right way step by step. But do me a favor. If you want to learn these invisible details that block you and the ones that unlock you, subscribe now. This channel is new, and I'm building an entire series to guide you through this slowly and consistently. Now pay attention. In the next section, I'm going to show you the first adjustment, quick, that changes the signal without you having to force positive thinking. Let me give you a practical shift in under a minute, and I want you to do it with me, because when you feel it in your body, you truly understand it. First, take a deep breath, once, and slowly let it out. Now say thank you the way you normally would, the way you've always said it. Say it like you're ending a conversation, like a period at the end of a sentence. Thank you. Notice the effect. Even though it's a beautiful phrase, that period usually comes with a subtle feeling of, okay, that's done. It's small, but it's there. Now let's do it differently. And I'm not going to give you the full phrase yet, because I want to teach you the structure first, so you don't depend on memorizing anything. Say thank you, but this time like it's a door left slightly open. Instead of ending, continue. Do it like this. Thank you, and I receive it with peace. Repeat. Thank you, and I receive it with peace. Feel the difference. There's no ending here. There's continuation. There's space. There's permission. And here's the most important part. This isn't about convincing the universe of anything. It's about the signal you send yourself. When you speak like someone who closes, you tend to act like someone who closes. You settle. You accept less. You lower your expectations. When you speak like someone who's opening, you train yourself to see more possibilities, more paths, more options. And let me warn you, there's a mistake that completely cancels this effect. Even when someone does everything the right way, it's a very common mistake, especially for women carrying a heavy load. And I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. But first, lock this image into your mind. Gratitude is not a wall. Gratitude is a door. Now I want to explain why this hits hardest for women who are constantly pushing, constantly trying, and why feeling stuck isn't about lack of worth. It's about overload. Let me talk to you without fluff, just real, because I know exactly what this looks like for so many women. You wake up and before your feet even hit the floor, your brain is already running a full to-do list. Bills, prescriptions, groceries, kids, work, the house, that random problem that shows up out of nowhere. And in the middle of all of it, you try to stay strong. You try to stay positive. You try to be grateful. You try not to complain too much. But there's a kind of exhaustion that isn't physical. It's soul-tired. It's that feeling like you're constantly putting out fires. And somehow life still won't move forward. And here's the part that hurts. When something good happens, even something small, you say thank you and close it. Thank God. At least that. And you keep going. Like you don't have the right to want more peace, more breathing room, more stability, more ease. A lot of women were trained to live like this, afraid of asking for too much, afraid of seeming ungrateful, afraid someone will say they're overreacting. On the outside, you keep functioning. On the inside, you start hardening. Everything shifts into survival mode. And let me say this clearly, this is not a lack of faith. It's not a lack of effort. It's not a lack of capability. Most of the time it's overload and a quiet habit that turns into a rule. Have you ever noticed how sometimes we feel embarrassed for being tired? Like exhaustion equals weakness. Like you're supposed to handle everything on your own. Like it's not okay to say, I need help. I need a minute. I need a sign that this is going to get better. If this video found you today, listen closely. Maybe you needed to hear this right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not doomed to live in emotional or financial stress forever. And that's why this image of the door is so powerful. Because for years, many women have been trained to close for protection. Close your heart, close your expectations, close your requests, close your dreams. But a closed door also blocks good things from coming in. And here's the shift that changes everything. Open gratitude isn't empty ambition. It's dignity. It's recognizing that there is space for good to continue entering your life. If this resonates with you, comment one simple phrase, I see myself. Not for me, for you, to say, I'm not going to pretend everything is fine anymore. Now I'm going to explain clearly what's behind this stuck feeling, the mechanism, and why the common way of saying thank you can become a ceiling. Then I'll give you step 2, which is what actually keeps the door open. Let me tell you a realistic story. Simple, the kind that happens every day, maybe even to you, but almost no one notices the detail. Let's call her Helen. Helen was 57, hard-working, careful, always trying to keep her household steady. She wasn't careless, she wasn't reckless with money, but she lived with that constant tight feeling. Money came in and went out too fast, worries never really rested, and every unexpected expense felt like a punch to the chest. One day, something small happened. She got a message saying a delayed payment was finally going to hit her bank account. It wasn't a windfall, just relief. She exhaled and said, Thank God, thank you. And that was it. She closed. Here's the detail almost no one notices. When she said that, her body relaxed like someone thinking, "Whew, I survived again." But hidden inside that relief was another thought. That's it. I can't expect much more than this. That same night, she told me something that stayed with me. "I'm afraid to ask," she said. "It feels like if I want more, I'm being ungrateful." And I told her, "Helen, wanting peace isn't ingratitude. It's a need. It's dignity." That's when I asked her to test a small adjustment, not as a magic ritual, but as internal signal training. The next morning, before starting her day, she said quietly, "Thank you," and I receive it with peace. No rush, like someone leaving the door slightly open. She repeated it for a few days, and the first thing that changed wasn't the world. It was her. She started noticing things she had ignored before. A conversation that could lead somewhere, a bill she could renegotiate, an automatic subscription draining her account, help she had been refusing out of pride. A week later, she sent me a voice message. "It's not like my life flipped overnight, but I feel calmer. And when I'm calmer, I see options. I saw an opportunity I would have missed before." That's the point. The door doesn't just open out there, it opens in here. And when it opens inside you, you start seeing what was already there all along. Now I'm going to explain the mechanism behind this. Why the common way of saying thank you becomes a ceiling, and how to turn gratitude into a door without depending on luck, without depending on willpower, without depending on anyone else. Let me break it down simply. No mystery. Because when you understand it, you stop blaming yourself. Think of yourself as a container, a vessel, a place where good things can enter: peace, opportunity, support, solutions, money, direction. This vessel isn't mystical. It's built from attention, decisions, and courage. When you say thank you in the usual way, like a period at the end of a sentence, "Thank you," you do two things at once. On the outside, you're polite. On the inside, you declare, "I'm satisfied, that's enough, we're done here." And your brain loves that kind of command because it saves energy. It interprets it as, "Okay, mission accomplished, close the file." But in real life, that becomes a ceiling, a quiet limit. And that's where the door metaphor comes in. Gratitude can be a door or a wall. A wall is when you use gratitude to stop wanting, stop asking, stop creating space. A door is when you use gratitude to acknowledge what came and signal that there's room for more. And here's where the symbolic part comes in, something present in many ancient teachings, including Jewish tradition. The idea that a person must remain a prepared vessel. In everyday language, a prepared mind sees pathways. A closed mind only sees problems. You don't always notice it because it's subtle, but it's like there are two modes inside you. Mode 1, "Whew, I survived." Close, relieve, return to worry. Mode 2, "I acknowledge and I remain open." Relieve, yes, but stay receptive, aware, present. And here's the key. This isn't about wanting more out of greed. It's about wanting more peace, more dignity, more stability, so you can serve better, care better, live better. Now, in the next section, I'm going to give you the method in 3 steps. And pay attention. Step 1 is the phrase, but step 2 is what makes the phrase actually work. And step 3 is the simple physical gesture that shifts your body, because your body has to believe it too. Let's go to the method. All right, here it is. And I want you to think of this as internal signal training. Training in presence, training in openness. It's symbolic, it's practical, and it works best when you do it simply and consistently. I'm going to ask you for one thing. While I'm teaching this, don't try to do it perfectly. Just do it with me. Perfection blocks. Simple opens. Let's start with one rule. You're no longer going to use "thank you" as a period. You're going to use thank you as a door. Step 1. The words, the structure that keeps the door open. There's a very common way of expressing gratitude that sounds nice, but closes things off. Thank you. Okay, that's it. The structure that opens is always the same. First, you acknowledge what has already come. Then, you acknowledge that there is still path, space, and continuation. So you're going to say it in 2 parts. I'll say it slowly. You repeat. First part, thank you for what has already arrived. Second part, and thank you for what is still on the way. If you prefer something simpler, same logic. Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Do you hear the difference? You're not begging. You're not demanding. You're declaring openness. You're saying, I acknowledge, and I remain receptive. Now repeat it once in your own voice. No rush. Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Good. And here's an important detail. Don't say this like a robot. Say it like someone who's giving herself permission. Many women were taught to allow themselves very little. So step 1 is like unlocking an old internal latch. Now, step 1 alone already shifts the signal. But there's a problem. Some people say the words correctly and stay closed on the inside. That's why there's step 2. Step 2. The intention. What you decide internally while you speak. Intention isn't mystical. It's direction. It's your focus. It's the emotional position you're speaking from. And the intention that opens doors sounds like this. I acknowledge, but I don't shut down. I give thanks, but I don't shrink myself. I receive, but I don't make myself small. That's the internal posture. And without that posture, the words are just sound. So before you repeat the phrase, you're going to ask yourself one silent question. Very simple. Am I saying thank you to open or to settle for less? If the answer is, I'm settling for less, don't judge yourself. Just adjust. And here's the internal adjustment. I deserve to receive with peace. For our audience, that hits deep. Because peace is what's missing for so many women. You can have people around you. You can have faith. You can be strong. And still feel like you have no peace. So the intention becomes, I deserve to receive with peace. Now combine it with step 1. It looks like this. Inside, I deserve to receive with peace. Outside, thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Repeat it with me one more time. I deserve to receive with peace. Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Now I need to tell you something honest. Step 2 makes some people uncomfortable because they were taught that deserving sounds arrogant. But it's not arrogance. It's dignity. It's deciding you're not going to live like life is only pressure and bills and survival mode. And something else happens when you apply step 2. You stop saying thank you from guilt. You start saying it from presence. Now comes step 3. And this is the step that locks the method into your body. Because your mind might understand, but if your body stays tense and closed, you'll slide right back into autopilot. Step 3. The gesture. Open your body to what you're saying. I'm going to teach you a simple, subtle gesture you can do anywhere. No one has to notice, but you will. While you say thank you, gently open your hands. That's it. If you're holding something, just loosen your fingers. If your hands are resting in your lap, turn your palms slightly upward. An open palm is an ancient symbol of receiving, and the body learns through symbols. The body learns through movement. So do this with me right now. Naturally, nothing dramatic. Open your hands slightly. Now say the full phrase with the gesture, thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Now add one short breath to seal it. Inhale through your nose. Exhale slowly through your mouth, like you're releasing weight from your chest. And repeat one more time. Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. That's it. 3 steps: words, intention, and gesture. Now let me give you 2 variations because this is where it becomes practical in real life. Variation 1. When something small goes right. You know those moments when something works out, but you're so tired you barely celebrate. A discount at checkout, a bill you managed to renegotiate, an unexpected Venmo, a small win at work, someone offering help. In that moment, use the short version. Thank you. I receive it with peace. And open your hands, even if it's just for a second. The goal isn't to perform a ceremony. The goal is to retrain your autopilot. Variation 2. When you're anxious, stressed, or scared. This is where a lot of women sabotage themselves. They say the words, but their jaw is tight. Their shoulders are tense. Their chest feels compressed. The words sound nice, but the signal is closed. So before saying thank you, take 2 breaths. Then say internally, I'm not closing today. And then apply step 1. Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Now listen carefully, because this is what keeps you watching until the end. There's one mistake that cancels all of this. Even when you say it right, even when you open your hands, even when you try. And it's the most common mistake of all. You do the method in the morning, and spend the rest of the day speaking like someone who's closed. You complain from panic. You declare defeat. You repeat, it's not going to work. I can't do this. This is just how my life is. And just like that, you switch back into wall mode. In the next section, I'm going to give you 3 very clear warnings so you don't fall into that trap. And I'll show you how to protect your signal throughout the day without becoming fake positive or forcing yourself to pretend everything is perfect. But before we move on, I want you to repeat this one more time with me, like a commitment. Say, I deserve to receive with peace. Now, thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. If you felt even a small shift, even just a tiny bit of relief, hold on to that. That's the beginning. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a 7-second version, short and simple, for those moments when you're in the middle of chaos and can't do anything more than the basics. Now let's move into the warnings, because this is where a lot of people lose the results without even realizing it. I need to give you 3 very clear warnings. Not to scare you, but to protect you from the mistake that destroys this method the fastest. Doing it once, feeling relief, and then sliding back into the pattern that closes everything again. Warning number 1. Don't do this with a heart full of anger. I know life gets heavy. I know people hurt you. And sometimes anger feels justified. But here's the truth. Constant anger becomes a closed fist on the inside. It locks you into the past. It keeps you on high alert. And when you live in constant alert mode, you don't see doors. You only see threats. So if your chest feels heavy with resentment, don't force it. Start with something simple. Acknowledge it. Say honestly, today I feel heavy. That's it. Then use the short version without demanding perfection. Thank you. I receive it with peace. Peace comes before everything else. Warning number 2. Don't broadcast this to everyone in the first 7 days. Let me be practical. When you tell too many people, you expose yourself to doubt, sarcasm, opinions, negativity, and then you start explaining yourself. And when you start explaining, you start doubting. And doubt makes you quit before it becomes a habit. So make an agreement with yourself. 7 days in silence. 7 days between you and your intention. This isn't superstition, it's focus. It's protecting your internal process. 7 days to stabilize a new pattern. If you're willing to commit to that, comment one word. 7 days. Simple commitment, real intention. Warning number 3. What you say during the day matters just as much as the method itself. This is the mistake I told you about earlier. You do the method in the morning and then spend hours declaring the opposite. It's not going to work. What's the point? This always happens to me. I'm just unlucky. Do you see it? You close the door with your tongue. You cancel the signal. Here's the realistic solution without becoming fake positive. You don't have to pretend everything is perfect. You just replace the declaration of defeat with a declaration of direction. Instead of, "It's not going to work," you say, "I don't know how yet, but I'm going to find a way." Instead of, "This is just how it's always been," you say, "Starting today, I respond differently." Instead of, "I can't handle this," you say, "One step at a time." With peace. That keeps the door slightly open. This isn't performance, it's positioning. And one more detail that helps a lot. If someone tries to pull you into negativity, complaining, drama, hopeless talk, don't debate, don't argue, just repeat internally, "I'm not closing today," and move on. If you hold on to these 3 warnings, something shifts. The method stops being just a nice phrase and becomes a posture, and posture changes decisions, and decisions change results. Now, in the next section, I'm going to tell you what to watch for in the next hours and days, internal signs and external signs, realistically, without fantasy. And I'll show you how to adjust if it feels like nothing happened, so you don't quit right before things start shifting. Let me be honest with you. The first signs are rarely money falling from the sky. Most of the time the first sign is internal clarity. And that matters more than you think, because when your mind clears, you stop making decisions from panic. Internal signs. Within the next 24 hours. You may notice one or more of these. A little more lightness in your chest. Not euphoria, just like the weight dropped 1 inch. A small pause before reacting. You breathe before snapping, before spiraling, before blaming yourself. A desire to organize something simple. A drawer, your planner, your budget app, your inbox. That's a sign your mind shifted from putting out fires to building. External signs within 3 to 7 days. Some people notice. A conversation that unlocks something. Someone remembers you, mentions your name, offers help, makes a referral. An idea that seems to come out of nowhere, but it was there all along. You just couldn't see it because you were closed. Small opportunities, a discount, a renegotiated payment plan, a side gig idea, a sale, an unexpected invitation. They look small, but small things compound, and that's how doors really open. Here's the secret. Don't ignore the small things. Women who live under constant pressure tend to minimize the small wins and wait for the big breakthrough. But the big breakthrough almost always grows out of small things, repeated consistently. Now, what if you do all this and it feels like nothing happened? Let's adjust. Adjustment number 1. Watch your language during the day. If you did the method in the morning and then spent the rest of the day saying, "It's not going to work," you close the door with your tongue. So without beating yourself up, go back to your protection phrase, "I'm not closing today." That's it. Adjustment number 2. Reduce it to the essentials. If you're exhausted, mentally, emotionally, physically, just use the short version for 7 days. Thank you. I receive it with peace. Open your hands for 1 second. That's all. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to go big. You need to stay steady. Adjustment number 3. Choose one focus per week. Instead of trying to open every door at once, choose one. For example, I open myself to receive income opportunities, or I open myself to receive peace and clarity. When you choose a focus, you create direction, and direction creates movement. And let me remind you of something important. You are not here by accident. If this touched you, it's because something inside you is asking for change. Not a change in who you are, but a release of the weight you've been carrying alone. If you're starting today, comment, "I start today." Now, in the next part, I'm going to give you a simple 7-day routine to turn this into a habit. And I'm going to close by opening a loop into the next video, because I want to guide you step by step. 7-day reset routine. This isn't meant to become pressure. It's meant to become ground under your feet, so you don't do it today and forget tomorrow. Day 1. Just the essentials. Use the short version once. Thank you. I receive it with peace. Open your hands for 1 second. That's it. Day 2. Add intention. Before the phrase, say internally, "I'm not closing today." Then repeat, "Thank you. I receive it with peace." Day 3. Focus on one door. Choose one area: money, work, family, health, peace. Say, "I open myself to receive peace and clarity." Then, "Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming." Day 4. Cut one closing statement. Choose a phrase you use when you're tired. Maybe, "It's not going to work. I can't do this." Every time it comes up today, replace it with, "I'm going to find a way." Day 5. Gratitude as a beginning. When something small happens, a positive message, a bit of relief, a tiny win, don't close it. Say, "Thank you. I receive it with peace." And continue your day without switching back into wall mode. Day 6. Silence and protection. Don't explain this to anyone. Just practice. If doubt shows up, repeat, 7 days, I stay with it. Day 7. Close with strength. Repeat the full phrase, more slowly. Thank you for what happened, and thank you for what is coming. Then add in your own words, "I keep the door open." And here's something I want to ask you. If you know a woman who is exhausted, stuck, trying to hold everything together on her own, send her this video. Sometimes one small shift changes an entire week. In the next section, I'm going to wrap this up and tell you what the next topic in this series will be, because there's a phrase even more common than thank you that drains energy inside your home without you realizing it. Let me end with something clear. If you made it this far, you've already done something many people never do. You paused, you listened, and you gave yourself a chance. Hold this image in your mind. Gratitude is not a wall, it's a door. When you say thank you like a period, you close. When you say thank you like a beginning, you open. Now do it with me one last time, simple and real. Thank you. I receive it with peace. Open your hands for 1 second. If this video brought you even a little sense of calm, comment below, "I keep the door open." I read the comments, and I want to see a chain of women choosing peace and openness. Because when one woman shifts her posture internally, it impacts her home, her work, her relationships. That's how real change spreads, quietly, but powerfully. And subscribe now, because in the next video, I'm going to show you a phrase that sounds completely harmless, something people say every single day around the house, but it quietly drains your energy. And more importantly, I'll teach you how to replace it with a phrase that protects your mind and organizes your thoughts. No fighting, no guilt, no becoming someone you're not. You didn't land on this video by accident. The door is already slightly open. Now all you have to do is keep it that way.